There is a sensation that countless people recognize immediately, especially once they pass the age of 60. It is that quiet but unmistakably weighty feeling in the legs when you rise after sitting for a period of time, as though your legs have somehow been packed with sand. Or maybe it is the constant coldness in your feet that refuses to go away no matter how thick your socks are, leaving them icy even when the weather is pleasant. For others, it may be the abrupt tingling or that troubling numbness that spreads across the calves, a prickly, unusual feeling that makes you want to move, shake, or stretch your legs just to find some comfort. These are not merely little annoyances you must resign yourself to because you are getting older. Your body is not simply aging in some vague general way. It is communicating something highly specific. It is sending a soft but urgent warning from deep inside your blood vessels, letting you know exactly what is taking place in your circulation at this very moment. What makes this even more discouraging is that many people are already making an effort. They are eating what they believe is a balanced diet, putting vegetables on their plates, reducing salt, following the wellness tips they have heard for years, and still, by evening, their legs feel weighed down, exhausted, and sore. It can be confusing and disheartening. You begin to wonder whether anything actually works, but the answer is not necessarily about trying harder. It is about learning which particular foods truly reach the deep blood vessels in your legs and feet and create a real, noticeable, lasting effect. For a long time, I have been deeply interested in one important question, and it gets right to the center of healthy aging. Why do some people in their late 70s still walk lightly, with energy, steadiness, and comfort, while others, sometimes 10 years younger at 65, struggle to go around the block without stopping to catch their breath or rest their legs? The contrast can be dramatic. According to a growing amount of research from organizations such as Harvard Health and the National Institutes of Health, the explanation has much more to do with the fruit sitting in your kitchen than most people would ever suspect. Today, I am going to share 7 remarkably powerful fruits, ranked specifically by how strongly they support circulation in the legs. This is not just about overall wellness. This is about focused support for the delicate and complex network of blood vessels that feeds your lower body. We are going to look at what makes each fruit special, using insights drawn from clinical findings and practical outcomes. And let me tell you this immediately. The fruit in the #1 position surprised me the first time I learned about the science behind it. It is inexpensive, easy to find in nearly any supermarket, and its impressive effect on blood vessel performance is something very few people truly understand. Before we start counting down, I would love to know where you are watching from and what you are personally noticing in your legs. Is it heaviness, cold feet, night cramps, tingling, numbness? Take a second to mention your city and a brief note about what you are feeling in the comments. I truly do read them, and it helps me connect this information to what people are facing in real life. Now let us begin the countdown. But before I reveal the first fruit, we need to make a short and useful stop at some basic biology. Do not worry, this will not be technical or boring. Think of it as a quick map that helps explain why these fruits matter so much. Without this foundation, the real value of what we are about to discuss cannot be fully appreciated. Picture your heart as a powerful pump located in the center of your body. Its task is to send life-giving blood to every single cell. Now think about your legs and feet. They are the body parts farthest from that pump. Every drop of blood that reaches your toes has to travel a long distance downward through the body to get there. Then the job becomes even harder. After that blood has delivered oxygen and nutrients, it must travel all the way back up to your heart, working against gravity through a large and complicated web of veins. When you were younger, perhaps in your 20s or 30s, your arteries were flexible, springy, and highly responsive. Imagine them like new rubber tubes. With every heartbeat, those arterial walls stretched and relaxed smoothly, helping blood travel forward with very little resistance. The trip to your legs and back happened efficiently and almost effortlessly. However, after age 60, a quiet but important change often begins. Those once supple artery walls slowly become stiffer. It does not happen overnight. It is gradual, subtle, and easy to miss at first, much like a rubber hose that becomes less flexible as it ages. Even more importantly, the thin, smooth inner lining of your blood vessels, called the endothelium, becomes less effective. This inner lining plays a critical role. It produces a tiny but very powerful compound called nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide as the body's own traffic director for circulation. Its message to blood vessels is simple but essential: relax, widen, and let blood move through easily. As the years pass and the endothelial lining becomes less efficient, the body produces less nitric oxide. And when nitric oxide drops, blood vessels narrow. The passageways for blood become tighter. Circulation slows. Blood has a harder time reaching the most distant parts of the body, and it becomes more likely to collect in the lower legs instead of moving smoothly. That is the heaviness so many people notice. That is why feet stay cold. That is often what triggers the sudden calf cramps that wake people at 3 o'clock in the morning. These are not just random signs of getting older. They are often the direct result of reduced nitric oxide and stiffer blood vessels. And that is exactly why these 7 fruits are so valuable. They help support the elasticity of blood vessels and encourage healthier nitric oxide activity, allowing the body to naturally push back against some of these age-related shifts. Let us start with fruit number 7, the apple. It is so ordinary and familiar that many people completely underestimate it. Because it is common, it is easy to ignore its real benefits. Yet apples play a very meaningful role in helping support vascular health, especially for adults over 60. Much of their value is hidden in plain sight. The skin of an apple, that crisp outer layer, contains a concentrated amount of a powerful plant compound called quercetin. Quercetin is a strong antioxidant, and one of its main jobs is to help protect the delicate endothelial lining of your blood vessels. That matters because the endothelium is the very layer responsible for producing nitric oxide. Over time, the body experiences what is often called chronic low-grade inflammation. This is not the obvious inflammation of pain, redness, or swelling. It is a quieter, invisible kind of inflammation happening at the cellular level, and it gradually contributes to arterial stiffness. Quercetin helps defend the endothelium against this steady background irritation. When that inner lining stays healthier, your blood vessels preserve more of their natural ability to expand and contract properly. That means blood can travel to your legs with less resistance, bringing warmth, oxygen, and nourishment where it is needed. Apples also provide pectin, a form of soluble fiber. Pectin is known for helping lower LDL cholesterol, the type often labeled bad cholesterol. This is important because LDL can slowly collect along artery walls and form plaque, narrowing the route through which blood must pass. It is like buildup inside a pipe that slowly restricts water flow. Pectin helps keep those pathways clearer and more open, making it easier for blood to reach the legs and feet. The best way to get the full benefit of an apple is very simple. Eat it with the skin. That is where much of the quercetin is found. Wash it well, then eat it whole, slice it into oatmeal, or enjoy it as a crunchy snack in the afternoon. It is a small habit, but one that can meaningfully support circulation over time. Now let us move to fruit number 6, the banana. There is a good chance you already have bananas sitting somewhere in your kitchen. And that is good news because they are easy to find and simple to use. Most people know bananas are high in potassium, but few people understand why potassium matters so much for leg circulation after 60. Potassium is one of the key minerals your body uses to regulate blood pressure. It helps balance sodium and supports proper fluid control while also helping blood vessels stay more relaxed. When potassium runs too low, which is common in older adults because of diet, medications, or age-related changes in nutrient processing, blood vessel walls can tighten more than they should. That extra constriction reduces the inner space of the vessels supplying your legs and feet. The result can be restricted circulation that shows up as tingling, numbness, or that annoying pins and needles sensation after sitting. Potassium helps ease that narrowing, much like straightening a kinked hose so the water can move through again. But bananas offer more than potassium. They also provide magnesium, another important mineral that works well alongside potassium. Magnesium helps relax the smooth muscle tissue around your arteries. This becomes especially useful for people who struggle with nighttime leg cramps, those sharp, sudden muscle contractions that can wake you from sleep and leave soreness behind the next day. In many situations, those cramps are a sign that muscles are not getting enough blood flow, especially at night when circulation naturally slows and the body is trying to rest. Bananas also contain vitamin B6. This vitamin plays a role in the production of nitric oxide, that essential compound that tells blood vessels to open and stay responsive. You will hear nitric oxide mentioned again and again because it is one of the central keys to strong circulation after age 60. A banana each day is an easy target. You can eat it on its own, blend it into a smoothie, or slice it over yogurt. Make it a regular part of your routine, and your legs may begin to feel the difference. Now we come to fruit number 5, watermelon. This is where things become especially interesting because watermelon affects blood vessels through a pathway most people have never heard about. Watermelon is rich in an amino acid called L-citrulline. Inside the body, L-citrulline is converted into L-arginine. And L-arginine is important because it is one of the main building blocks the body uses to make nitric oxide. So, in a very real sense, eating watermelon gives your body more of the raw material it needs to create the compound that helps blood vessels relax and widen. More nitric oxide means better blood flow. It means blood is more likely to reach the tiny capillaries in the feet and toes rather than slowing down before it gets there. There is another reason watermelon deserves attention, especially for older adults. Studies published in respected journals, including the American Journal of Hypertension, have shown that regular intake of L-citrulline may help reduce arterial stiffness, particularly in older individuals and postmenopausal women. That means the effect is not only temporary widening of vessels, it may also support greater flexibility in the vessel walls themselves over time. Now here is the detail many people never learn. The highest amount of L-citrulline in a watermelon is not in the pink flesh people love most. It is in the white rind, the pale layer between the juicy fruit and the green outer peel. That is the part most people cut away and toss in the trash. If you have ever taken a bite too close to the rind, you may have unknowingly eaten the most circulation-supportive part of the fruit. Of course, fresh watermelon cubes make a wonderful snack, and blending watermelon with mint creates a refreshing drink. But if you want to get the most out of it, try blending in a portion of the white rind as well. Its flavor is mild, so it often disappears into smoothies or juice. Your blood vessels, however, are likely to appreciate the extra boost. Next is fruit number 4, pineapple. Pineapple has a circulation benefit that is rarely discussed, and it comes from a special enzyme called bromelain. Bromelain does something quite useful inside the body. It helps blood move more freely by reducing the tendency for it to become overly thick or sticky. This matters because thicker, less fluid blood can move more slowly through arteries and veins, especially as people get older and inflammation rises. After 60, it becomes more common for inflammatory activity and platelet behavior to affect blood flow. When circulation meets more internal resistance, less oxygen and fewer nutrients reach the muscles in the legs. That can contribute to heaviness, fatigue, and swelling. By helping blood move more smoothly, bromelain supports better delivery to the lower body and may help reduce that swollen, burdensome sensation in the ankles and feet. Bromelain also has anti-inflammatory effects. This matters because chronic inflammation is one of the reasons artery walls become less flexible over time. As inflammation quietly continues day after day, the arteries gradually lose some of their ability to widen and relax. Bromelain helps oppose that process. Pineapple also supplies manganese and vitamin C. Together, these nutrients help support collagen production. Collagen is not only important for skin, it is also a major structural protein in blood vessels. It helps keep vessel walls strong, resilient, and flexible. Without proper collagen support, blood vessels may become weaker or less adaptable, which can make circulation less efficient. Here is another useful detail. Bromelain is most concentrated in the pineapple core, the firmer center that many people cut out and discard. The next time you eat pineapple, consider keeping the core. Blend it into a smoothie or chew the softer parts. It may not be the sweetest section, but it contains much of the benefit. Now let us go to fruit number 3, avocado. Yes, avocado is technically a fruit, even if many people think of it more as a savory food. And when it comes to circulation, avocado does much more than people usually realize. Your arteries face two major threats over time. The first is LDL cholesterol, which gradually builds along the vessel walls and narrows the space where blood flows. The second is oxidative stress, a process in which unstable molecules damage the delicate lining of arteries and speed up stiffening. Avocado helps address both problems. It is rich in monounsaturated fats, particularly oleic acid, the same heart-friendly fat found in olive oil. These fats help lower LDL cholesterol while also supporting higher levels of HDL cholesterol, the so-called good cholesterol that helps remove unwanted buildup from artery walls. A healthier cholesterol balance means cleaner, wider blood flow channels to the legs and feet. But there is more. Avocado is also one of the richest fruit sources of vitamin E, particularly alpha-tocopherol. Vitamin E helps protect the endothelial cells that line blood vessels. Since those cells are responsible for producing nitric oxide, keeping them healthy is essential. When oxidative damage harms the endothelium, nitric oxide production falls, and vessels lose some of their ability to relax. Vitamin E helps preserve those cells and supports more stable vessel function. Another interesting fact is that avocado contains more potassium per serving than a banana. That means it can provide even stronger support for healthy blood pressure and vessel relaxation. A practical approach is to eat half an avocado with dinner 4 times a week. Add it to a salad, pair it with vegetables and protein, or mash it as a side. It does not need to be complicated. Regularity is what matters most. Now we reach fruit number 2, dried plums, commonly known as prunes. They may not be fashionable, but do not underestimate them. Dried plums are one of the most underrated foods for long-term vascular protection. What makes them so helpful is their high concentration of polyphenols. Polyphenols are plant compounds with powerful antioxidant activity, and they help fight the chronic low-level inflammation that slowly reduces arterial flexibility over time. Again, this is not the kind of inflammation you feel clearly. It is the quiet process taking place inside vessel walls that weakens their ability to respond smoothly with each heartbeat. As that responsiveness declines, circulation to the legs tends to worsen. Dried plums also contain vitamin K, and this is especially important. Vitamin K helps regulate where calcium goes in the body. Without enough of it, calcium can settle in places it should not, including artery walls. This process is called vascular calcification. When it happens, arteries become harder and less flexible. Vitamin K helps direct calcium toward bones where it belongs and away from blood vessels where it can do damage. Dried plums also provide boron, a trace mineral associated with better bone health and vascular support in older adults. Interestingly, bone health and circulation often decline together more than most people realize. A simple goal is 4 to 5 dried plums a day. Eat them as a snack or chop them into oatmeal or yogurt. They are easy to use, easy to keep on hand, and quietly effective. And now we come to number 1, the fruit that stands above the rest, red and purple grapes. What places red and purple grapes in a category of their own is a compound called resveratrol. Resveratrol is concentrated mainly in the skin and has been studied extensively for its effects on cardiovascular function. The first reason resveratrol is so impressive is that it directly encourages nitric oxide production in endothelial cells. Since nitric oxide is the signal that tells blood vessels to relax and widen, this matters enormously. Resveratrol does not just support circulation indirectly, it actively promotes the very process aging blood vessels rely on most. That means improved blood flow, better oxygen delivery, and less heaviness and coldness in the legs and feet. Second, resveratrol has powerful anti-inflammatory effects that have been well documented in vascular research. It targets the pathways involved in arterial stiffening, the very process that narrows blood vessels over the years and reduces blood supply to the lower limbs. By lowering inflammation, resveratrol helps preserve flexibility and responsiveness in the arteries. Third, and perhaps most importantly, resveratrol helps protect artery walls from the oxidation of LDL cholesterol. LDL alone is a concern, but oxidized LDL is especially damaging because it is more likely to become embedded in artery walls and contribute to plaque formation. Resveratrol helps interrupt this process early, and grapes offer even more. They are also rich in anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their deep red and purple color. Anthocyanins help strengthen the small blood vessels in the calves and feet, the tiny capillaries that are often among the first to suffer when circulation weakens with age. To use grapes well, eat a small handful of fresh red or purple grapes with the skin on. Have them between meals, add them to salads, or freeze them for a cool snack. Just be sure to wash them well. A moderate amount each day is enough. Consistency matters more than quantity. Now that we have covered all 7 fruits, there is one more strategy that can complement everything we have discussed. A simple morning drink made with lemon, ginger, and cinnamon. This combination supports leg circulation through 3 different but complementary actions. Lemon provides vitamin C, one of the most important antioxidants for protecting the endothelial lining of blood vessels. Since the endothelium is where nitric oxide is produced, this protection matters a great deal. Vitamin C also supports collagen production, which helps keep artery walls strong and flexible. Ginger contains gingerol, a compound studied for its anti-inflammatory and mild blood-thinning properties. Gingerol helps blood move with less friction and may reduce the tiny clotting tendencies that can gradually limit circulation. Cinnamon supports the sensitivity and responsiveness of the smallest blood vessels, especially the peripheral capillaries in the hands and feet. For people who regularly feel cold in their extremities, this can be particularly helpful. Here is how to prepare the drink. Squeeze half a fresh lemon into a cup of warm water. Make sure the water is warm, not boiling, because too much heat can reduce vitamin C. Add 1 teaspoon of freshly grated ginger. Then stir in half a teaspoon of ground cinnamon. Mix thoroughly. Drink it first thing in the morning, ideally about 20 minutes before breakfast. Many people notice warmer feet, lighter legs during walks, and a better sense of energy after 2 to 3 weeks of steady use. Before I finish, let me point out 3 common mistakes that can quietly weaken all the progress these foods might offer. The first mistake is throwing away the most beneficial part of the fruit. We have seen this with apple skin, watermelon rind, and pineapple core. In several cases, the compounds most responsible for circulation support are concentrated exactly where people least expect them. Knowing which parts matter can completely change how useful a fruit becomes. The second mistake is believing that more is always better. Even healthy fruits contain natural sugars. Eating large amounts does not necessarily produce stronger benefits. In fact, too much fruit at once may work against your goals by affecting blood sugar. Over time, high blood sugar can damage the very blood vessels you are trying to support. The goal is not excess. The goal is steady, moderate intake. A small amount daily is much better than a large amount once in a while. The third mistake is expecting immediate change. Poor circulation usually develops slowly over years, and improvement also takes time. Arterial stiffness and reduced nitric oxide production do not reverse overnight. Most people who experience meaningful improvement describe noticing changes after about 3 to 6 weeks of regular habits. If you understand that from the beginning, you are more likely to stay with the process long enough to benefit from it. And there is one final point that is very important. If your leg heaviness, foot coldness, numbness, or cramping is severe, getting worse, or affecting one leg much more than the other, please see your doctor. These fruits and the morning drink can be excellent tools for supporting circulation, but they are not a replacement for medical evaluation when symptoms may point to a more serious issue. If this information has been genuinely useful to you, consider giving the video a thumbs up. It only takes a moment and it helps this message reach more people who may be struggling silently with the same symptoms. And let me know in the comments, which of these 7 fruits will you add to your routine first? Take good care of your legs. They carry you through every season of life, and with intentional nourishment, they can continue to support you with greater strength, comfort, and ease.